Democrats, we've always expected people to help themselves if they could, to get up and do something, to contribute, to make sure that you're always adding value. And with that, we've all gotten along well. We never looked at our West Virginia Republicans as our enemies. They had different ideas. And a democracy, Chris, doesn't work with one-party system. It's not what our founding fathers thought this to be. So I don't know why people think I've got to be pigeonholed. I'm a proud West Virginia Democrat. I am no way, shape, or form a Washington Democrat. I've been very clear about that. And my friends in West Virginia, the Republicans, they're not proud of the Washington Republicans. So we're going to still do our thing. I'm hoping our state can show the civility. Shelley Moore Capito and I work very well together. We show the civility, the collegiate attitude that you should have. And it always comes down to what's important for our state. We can be a Democrat and Republican, but you better be an American and a West Virginian first. Let me tell you what I think, what I would hope. With this new Congress going in, especially with the Democrats in control of Congress, they ought to put an agenda. There's an awful lot of good people there, and I know a lot of them, and a lot of good moderate Democrats. They ought to put an agenda forward. They ought to go to the president. Say, Mr. President, on these issues, here's where we are. Can we meet somewhere in the middle, make this work? And then go have a press conference and tell them what you've offered. Show the public with a progressive what you want to do in basically helping the country. Keep it transparent. And what you've laid out. That's exactly. 100%. And then the president will play from that or off of that. If they don't do that, will see who makes the deal, if he starts setting it up, right, if he starts demonizing from the beginning and they start basically saying against, I'm for everything until you show me something that doesn't work. Then I'm not going to be for it. So I'm always going to accept something. If you give me an idea, Chris, I'm thinking you want to do something good and you want to help me. Well, now, when I find out that was not your intent, I'm going to turn.
I hear you. I've seen you operate on the ground with your people in West Virginia. I know you care about them, and I know they care about you, and that's why they gave you your victory. My one idea for you is you should be on this show more so we can have more transparency about what's happening in the Senate, and the invitation is open.
Chris, it's always been, and you've been great to work with, and I think the world of you, and you know that in the family. But the bottom line is you've got to have a heart and soul for people. This is a people's game if you want to play a game. But if you don't have a heart and soul, get out of it. Let people that want to help people. Don't worry about the parties. This party system, this tribal stuff is killing us. And it's not what people want. And I'm just not going to partake in it. I'm going to still be me, and I'm going to fight for my country. I'm going to try to help my state. If it's a Democrat idea and it's great, I'm with it. If it's a Republican idea and it's great, I'm with it. And I'm going to work for whatever I think's best for my country and my state.
Senator Joe Manchin, let's see how it is going forward. The people are obviously demanding better. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate being with you.
All right. Joining us ahead, a man who knows what it's like to be fired by the Trump White House. Anthony Scaramucci. He knows what's going on. He understands the thinking from the White House. He understands what happened last night. We're going to talk about it all next.
Being a Verizon engineer is about doing things right, and there's no shortcut to the right way. So when we roll out the nation's first 5G ultra-wideband network, it'll be because we were the first to install the fiber optics and small cells and upgrade the towers that will change the way we learn, work, and live. And I'll always be proud that we're not just building America's first 5G network, we're doing it right.
As Julie's worry monster, I couldn't wait for her 50th birthday. But instead of worrying, she does yoga and drinks Palm. I thought we'd have more girls' nights reading the internet about diseases we could have. Don't even get me started on her sex life. It's perfect!
Did you get a whole Thanksgiving?
Well, you remember what happened last year?
You can't bring a backup Thanksgiving to my sister's house.
It's not like we're gonna walk in with it. We'll bring it in as we need it. Phase it in.
Phase it in?
Yeah, phase it in.
The first time that I was up on a high-rise cleaning a window, I was terrified. But once I made it to the ground, I was hooked. I needed to do it again. That moment when you're going over the edge is like getting on a rocket that's going to Mars. I need to be clear-minded, and I have to feel my best to be able to do my best. At my age, cholesterol is a risk factor. So my doctor told me that I should watch what I eat, And he recommended also that I take an aspirin every day. Teamwork is everything. I couldn't do it without my team, and definitely can't imagine doing anything else.
An aspirin regimen can help prevent another heart attack or ischemic stroke. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Smile, Dad.
I take medication for high blood pressure and cholesterol, but they may not be enough to protect my heart.
Adding Bayer aspirin can further reduce the risk of another heart attack.
Because my second chance matters.
Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Discrimination on the basis of sex is legal. We need to right this wrong.
What did you say your name was?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
You've been ready for this your whole life.
We're not asking you to change the country. That's already happened without any court's permission. This is just the beginning.
Rated PG-13.
All right, we got your first assessment of President Donald Trump. The reaction from the president? Immediately go after the Russia investigation. He took out his frustration, maybe, by firing his attorney general. But let's be honest, we all thought that was going to happen. Anyway, this soon? No. Tonight, we have the former White House Communications Director, Anthony Scaramucci. It's good to have you back on primetime, especially after last night.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting night because there was something there, Chris, for everybody. It was sort of like that box of chocolate in the Forrest Gump movie. You know, you open it up, there's a little bit there for everybody. So, but by and large, if you look at the historic situation, the president really did have a great night, and it was definitely his momentum going into those rallies that helped people like Senator Cruz, et cetera. So I think he feels very good about the effort that he put in over the last 3 weeks, and very tiring too.
Well, look, I think that what it proved last night is that we are a diametrically opposed country. We are as divided as I have seen in my lifetime and yours. The president did well where he has done well in the way that he's done well, but the base shrunk, and he got rejected in the overall vote by even more than he did in the 2016 election. I think those are just the raw facts, but I want to ask you about something else. I'm happy to get into the election.
Okay,
but
we can get into it, but the participation is down. You know, he himself wasn't on the ballot.
Participation was down. He was on the ballot in every way except legibly.
Yeah,
and
it's
there are
off
more
from
people who voted last night than we've had maybe in any other midterm.
Make your other... I understand that, but still only 49%. But make your point.
But it's higher than ever before. So how is the participation down, Anthony?
I'm talking about off the 2016.
But it always
campaign.
is. This is a midterm.
I understand that, but he himself was not on the ballot.
He said he was.
Well,
he told your candidates and the rallies, vote for me like I was on it.
Of course he said that, but he wasn't on the ballot, and so we both know that, and so that's why. The data that you're looking at, I don't think is 100% accurate. But if you guys want to use that, you want to use that data, you're getting, the Democrats will be set up to lose again in 2020.
How so? They have a better map in 2020 for the Senate, and it's not fake data. All right, just because you don't like the data, but I mean that's what he's starting to suggest too. I'm starting to hear, a little bit of the narrative coming out.
I didn't say it was fake data. I said it's not presidential electoral politics data. It's midterm data, which is different. That's all I said.
Oh, that's
definitely,
true. Look,
definitely accurate data. I'm not saying it's
but he was on it. He took a victory lap in the races where he says he helped. He blamed the people who lost for not embracing him enough when we know
that's true.
It is not true. What is true is that him going at immigration with fear and loathing the way he did compromised races across the country. And that's why you guys took the beat down that you got in the House. You don't see presidents with an economy that he benefits from right now getting shellacked the way he did last night.
Chris, President Obama got shellacked using his own words in 2010.
He didn't have this economy.
He did not.
And he had cultural revulsion against him.
Chris, he didn't get shellacked last night, okay? He lost 33 seats. There were tight races.
With this economy?
You're missing something that happened last night that's virtually going to assure his reelection in 2020, and that was Ron DeSantis in Florida. Okay, the president needs to win that state. He's now got a Republican senator in place, and he's got Ron DeSantis, one of his close allies in Florida. That's typically been a swing state, and it's been turning redder as a result of President Trump's work, his policies, economically and otherwise. So I hear you. I did say it's a mixed bag. I want to be very fair. The Democrats had a very good night last night. But from a presidential perspective in the setup to 2020, the president did pretty well. And he picked up three. And he picked three seats up in the Senate.
He did,
I think
but he
that's
had a
the
good
number.
map in the Senate. Those Democrats were in red states. They were vulnerable. Joe Manchin got through. Tester got through. Heitkamp didn't. McCaskill didn't. She was in a little bit of a different basket. But he does well where he does well. The base is for real. Trumpism is for real in those places. But I'm just saying, fear and loathing, Anthony, doesn't sell as retail politics across this country.
He said 48 hours ago that there might be a change of tone in the offing.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Let's see. Let's see what happens.
What do you mean, let's see? We saw it today. He goes right at it with the media. We'll leave that to the side. We should not be the story. I don't want to get into that. I got enough other stuff to talk about.
Go ahead.
But what does he do? He fires Sessions. Wow, what a shocker.
Well,
you know, that's what he does. He knows the story's bad for him. Let's get rid of him now, and let's replace him with a guy who came on my air for one message. The president's right. The Mueller probe. It's no good. It shouldn't be happening. Now he's in charge. Listen to what he said.
If Bob Mueller and his small U.S. Attorney's Office, as I've heard it described today, does go beyond the 2016 election and get into Trump organization finances, I think that would be crossing a red line. I think that's when that the Deputy Attorney General, who's the acting Attorney General for the purposes of this investigation, Rod Rosenstein, who I served with in the Bush administration, he needs to step in and pull the reins back on Bob Mueller.
Look how much younger I looked. It was only a year ago. So what do we know? We know that he came on. He came on. Tell me. Came on as a legal commentator. He auditioned. He succeeded. He got a job in the government. He's there now, and now he is the acting AG.
You're oversimplifying the whole thing. That's not what. That's not what happened, and so do I. What basically happened was the president had sent indications that he was not happy with the attorney general.
True.
Like a good CEO. After the referendum took place, he fired him immediately. If you're going to get fired, trust me, and I have been fired more than once, if you get fired, you want to get fired very quickly so you can move on to something else. And in
that didn't happen here.
And in the Attorney General's case, they allowed him to resign, which I think was
I know, but they've been dragging it out, and he's been punching him like a piñata for months.
Okay.
He's got Democrats feeling bad for Jeff Sessions.
Okay, but it's over now, and as it relates to the designee or the person that's going to be at least in charge on an interim basis, perhaps on a permanent basis, I think that's very unfair. The guy's a very experienced guy. He's got incredible credentials in the Republican Party. And you know I went to law school with Rod Rosenstein. He was in my section. I have an unbelievable amount of respect for him. I do think the president is going to be treated fairly, but I think it was time to move on for everybody. And that's the way it goes in Washington.
Well, look, he was at the press conference today.
That's just the way it is.
He was asked about changes.
I experienced that, and I took it and walked away.
It's true, but you know what? You're a one-off in terms of the respect you've maintained for the president, how you handled it, and how you've done going forward. It doesn't usually go that way for people around Trump, so bravo for you. But what I'm saying is he was asked about it today at the presser, and he played dumb on it. I don't want to talk about that. We don't know what's going to happen. They were planning to fire him. This is the way they thought they'd distract from the story. It's not going to happen on my watch because the story last night was the Democrats and the people in this country coming out the way we've never seen in the midterms.
All due respect,
and this is done to distract from that.
You're over-dramatizing it, Chris. He's a CEO as President of the United States. He didn't like the situation and the chemistry that he had with the Attorney General. And after the referendum, he let the person go. It's that simple. It's not really
I hear
much
you.
more
Look, I
complicated
hear the way
than
you
that.
phrase it, but that's also
Chris,
not an accurate description of it. There's nothing CEO about him. One, he's never really been a CEO. As we both know, it's not like your company, Anthony. It isn't. It's not like both of the companies that you've run.
I gotta
you have a lot of staff.
Maybe I'll send you the audio.
Maybe I'll send you the audio.
Maybe I'll send you the audio version of my book so you can listen to the book. Okay, he has
Too many
been
big
a
words.
CEO. He has been a CEO. Okay, he was a television
What has he
star.
ever run? What has he ever run? A television star makes you a CEO?
No, he
Is
ran
Anderson
the
Cooper
Trump
a CEO?
organization. He ran the Trump organization for 35, 40 years.
But what is the Trump organization? It's a sales pitch machine for him. Come on, you know that. You've been to his offices.
He had hotels, airplanes, casinos, some of which did well, some of which didn't.
He has his name on those companies, and the more he managed them, the more likely they went down.
I thought after
Anthony.
your brother's victory last night, you'd be in a much better mood than this. You're very testy tonight, okay?
Hey, when my taxes come down in New York State, I'll be in a better mood.
Okay,
Nobody
well,
gets a pass with
okay,
me,
well, okay,
even if
well,
you look exactly
well,
like
you and I should team up with him on that. The entire state would be very happy with the two of us. But back on the president, I think he did very well last night on a relative historical basis. I'm just trying to be
clinical.
clinical.
You on that. I hear you on that. Let me just give you one last question on that.
Go ahead.
Let me just give you one last question, all right? Because, look, the people came out and voted. That's all that matters to me. The turnout was everything for me. And now we'll see if the politicians respond. If not, they'll get a bigger dose next time. If the president, just looking at it raw politics, if you mess with the probe in any way, okay, no matter how many layers of insulation that there are, how does the president ever expect to get a clean bill of health and complete exoneration if anybody can ever say he messed with the process?
I don't think Robert Mueller is going to say that the president messed with the process. Once the report is done, we'll go back to what David Axelrod said in the last program. Robert Mueller is an incredibly respected guy. If Robert Mueller said that the president messed with the process, then we have a problem. You can invite me back on, and I'll call it a problem.
I'll invite you on anyway.
Okay, but I'm just saying, as it relates to this, I don't think the president did that. He's just making a personnel change due to the personal chemistry of the situation, and he's moving forward. And I'm going to make a few predictions before you let me go. Number one, I think he gets a deal done with China relatively quickly. I think that's before the end of January. That's my personal prediction based on my market knowledge and sort of what I know what's going on there in China.
Give me two more.
And then secondarily, I do think he's going to cross the aisle and possibly cut a deal on infrastructure, because that's a very good frame up.
Be nice to see. We certainly need
and
it.
it's a very good frame up and set up for the 2020
election.
And I think you're going to get a interesting version of the president. My prediction is that he will tone down some of this rhetoric going forward.
We'll see.
And I think that will improve his approval ratings.
We'll see.
And I think he's going to be very well positioned given where the economy is, Chris.
We see. Last night he was weighed and measured, and people clearly sent a signal that they don't like the way he leads. That's just the way you look at the raw vote.
Okay,
Anthony Scaramucci.
Let's see what happens.
Absolutely, 100%. Everybody wants better, and you're always welcome back. Be well.
I appreciate it. God bless.
So, look, what have we seen? Since last night, the president has been lighting all kinds of fires to distract from what happened. We will not lose focus. It all matters, but what happened last night matters more. We'll discuss why it happened and what it means going forward for you.
Let's do an ad of a man eating free waffles at Comfort Inn. They taste like victory because he always gets the lowest price on our rooms guaranteed when he books direct at choicehotels.com.
Or just say bada book, bada boom.
Book now at choicehotels.com.
At Athene, we think it's time for the financial world to stop acting the same old way. You need a partner that is willing to break free from conventional thinking. We are a different kind of financial company. We are Athene, and we are driven to do more.
Melatonin is the body's own sleep ingredient. Only REM-Fresh uses ion-powered melatonin to deliver up to 7 hours of sleep support. #1 sleep doctor recommended REM-Fresh, your nightly sleep companion. Available in the natural sleep section at Walmart.
No one can control what happens on Mars.
Space exploration. It's where we solve problems that have never been solved before.
We can make Mars a better planet.
It's a new frontier. It's ripe for the